Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Lady Vivian. And Lady Vivian has a follow-up to the numerous vlogs we've now done on the subject of egregores. And Lady Vivian's questions are these. First, Lady Vivian asks if you have connected to an egregore, particularly in a magical or initiatory sort of situation where you have connected to that egregore with your eyes open, done it intentionally, associated yourself and connected yourself to the egregore and worked with it, how much influence will it then have on you? To what extent will it direct you or focus you in ways that you might not otherwise focus yourself? And her second question is, if you have connected yourself to an egregore, particularly in a magical way, how can you disconnect yourself if you later feel that you have moved in different directions? And to answer the first question, it depends entirely on a number of different aspects of the situation. One, what kind of egregore we're talking about and how powerful it is, how long it has existed, and how closely you have intentionally connected yourself to it. How much you have worked with it, how long you have worked with it, whether you've worked with it in just this life or perhaps several. What happens when we work with this kind of group construct is that we do tend to develop a symbiotic relationship with it, and the stronger that relationship is, the more we will be influenced by it. I would not think that we would ever really be controlled by it, but influenced. One of the things people misunderstand is they think in terms of having power, but power is an illusion, whereas influence is very real. And very often people who think they have power find they really don't have very much at all, while other people who have influence and know how to use it get a lot done. It's the same with an egregore. It isn't so much a power as an influence on the people who are involved. And it's an influence similar to working with a powerful person, except in this case it's not a person. And so if you're working with this sort of group mind, for want of a better way to put it, of course it's going to influence you. It may give you different kinds of guidance. You may find that your own abilities are greatly heightened by working with it. And that if you disconnect from this, that heightening might not be there because it wasn't actually your own. You may find that guidance isn't there because it wasn't really your own, it was part of the group. So how much will it influence you? It depends on what kind of egregore it is, what its actual abilities are, and how much you have intentionally connected. The stronger you have worked to connect with it, obviously the more influence it will have. And in some cases, an egregore you're connected with, even intentionally, may not have very much influence at all on you. And in others it may be very great indeed, even if you're not aware of being connected to it. Now, how do you disconnect from it? Well, I would say that, generally speaking, you would disconnect from an egregore in the same way you would disconnect from a person to whom you have karmic attachments. You would look for those attachments, generally in the form of cords, and you would cut them and seal them. And it would also be good to do things like soul retrieval or other forms of shadow work to work with releasing those connections entirely. But the cutting of the cords is one of the better ways to do it. And that is what I would recommend. But you also want to be conscious of watching for the effects of this, making sure you've done enough, because very often when we try to deal with things, we'll deal with them intellectually, but not necessarily emotionally. So make sure that you've cut all of the cords if you're trying to disconnect from either an egregore or a person. It really isn't different. When you form connections to someone or something, the connection is the same regardless of what you've connected to, and breaking it is the same process. So I hope that gives you something to think about, and until next time, may you blessed be. Reverend Don, super omnibus of incantations and invocations for all occasions. Mary Ann Kay and I created this massive compendium of magic and artwork for you to use in any way that you would like. There are literally hundreds of spells and hundreds of illustrations, which can be mixed and matched and used in many different ways. Check it out now at witchghoulstore.com.